Hello angels, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So my second video, trying to be consistent, trying to time manage. I will get there, please bear with me. Thank you so much for watching and being here on this video. A couple of weeks ago, I posted on my Instagram story and asked you guys to just shoot me some questions. And this is especially exciting because it's really the first space for me to sort of share who I am with you on this platform. Who is Kaaviya? Why is she on the internet? Why does she think that she can sit here and talk and we're gonna listen to her? Well, here's why. But first, let me tell you about the vibe, okay? The vibe in here right now is immaculate. So today I woke up a lot later than I usually do. I woke up around 9 o'clock. I was super tired and not feeling well, but I decided to change the tone of my day because I really did want to have like a relaxed but productive vibe going. And of course it was like pouring rain. I love how cozy and comfortable I feel when it's raining, but it's not the best for creating content or taking pictures or anything like that. And it's Friday, so I definitely wanted to do some of that. It's okay, I will adjust. I had a whole day of schoolwork, extremely productive. I did the whole Zoom classes and I spoke up in my Zoom classes. It's like a little win for me when I'm able to just be present and actually feel engaged, because it's so easy to feel disconnected. But honestly, the best part of my day is getting to sit here, film this, talk to you guys, share my life with you. And I have my little pumpkin candle going. I bought so much pumpkin stuff from Trader Joe's. It's like I'm walking through the aisles and fully aware of what a dummy I am when it comes to fall and like seasonal marketing. I just buy anything that has autumn leaves on it or that says pumpkin on it, like, or Halloween themed stuff. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that magical stuff. Okay, to kick it off, we're gonna start super lighthearted and fun here. Someone said, what is your current makeup routine? I'm definitely gonna have to do a makeup tutorial in one of my next videos because I get so many questions on that. I think throughout quarantine, I've sort of like developed my makeup style / aesthetic. I've definitely figured out what works for me, what's easy for me. It's so funny because I used to be the girl who would wake up early and like really put on, do all this, like the whole 9 yards. I would do foundation, primer, like lashes, everything. I was just a huge makeup enthusiast in high school, and now not so much. I've been really liking trying to tone it down and make it more natural. I'm slowly starting to work my way into not wearing any foundation. What I'm doing right now is I use this MAC mineral finish concealer and I just dab it on all the spots where I have hyperpigmentation. I'm a lashes girl. Like, I'm always gonna wear fake lashes unless I go and get extensions, so that's a staple for me in my routine. Pretty much wear the same lip color every single day because I have not found, like, I swear there are only 3 shades of lipstick that work on my skin tone, and I mean, that's devastating because obviously there needs to be more inclusivity in the makeup industry. People are starting to work on that, and we do see brands that are being a lot more inclusive. Like, I love Fenty Beauty, but in general, it is still like the day that I find an amazing lipstick that goes with my skin, and every once in a blue moon I'll find a good shade, and that ends up being like the highlight of my year. And I should add this, I went through such a big colored contact phase throughout quarantine. I don't have good sight, so I do wear normal contacts every day, but colored contacts were giving me migraines. Like, I couldn't do it. And also I feel like it made me not embrace my natural eye color as much. Like, I didn't feel as good in like my natural form. And since throughout quarantine I've been trying to make my entire makeup routine and routine in general a lot more natural, I felt like colored contacts had to be, I needed to just like step back from that a little bit. I love them, they're so fun, and it's a really fun way to switch up your look. I have like separation anxiety with everything, so I'm not gonna cut my hair, I'm not gonna do anything drastic to my face. So for me, colored contacts were kind of the perfect fit. It was just, I can take them out before I go to sleep and be back to normal. So they're definitely still fun. I'll probably dabble in them and use them in fun looks and stuff, but definitely going to be trying to stick to my normal eye color. Okay, question number 2. What is your quarantine workout routine like? Okay, so the first thing that I want to say about this is in quarantine, the number one thing I think for our mental health is to recognize that you need to stop being so hard on yourself. And this was something I kind of struggled with in the first month or two. I really just was having trouble shifting from waking up at 4 a.m. and going to the gym and like running a mile on the treadmill and doing the whole thing to not working out every day and also not eating very clean. That was difficult for me, but I was meditating and spending a lot of time doing self-reflection. So that sort of created a space in my mind where I was able to take a step back and be like, oh, it's okay that I'm not perfect right now. This is obviously a very unprecedented situation and it's difficult for all of us. I haven't been super hard on myself. I do try to work out 4 to 5 times every week. I take a couple of days off depending on if I have a lot of classes or homework to do that day, or I always try to have a free day on the weekend. I do 10 minutes of cardio and I just use a little timer app on my phone. If you go search like fitness timer in the App Store, I'm sure there's like hundreds, but I do 10-minute cardio and it's like 40 seconds off, 10 seconds rest, just for 10 minutes. Sometimes I'll do extra, I'll do like 15 or 2 rounds or whatever. And after I do my cardio, I do some type of strength training. I try to alternate between upper body and lower body every other day, and then I'll throw in an arm circuit or like a thigh circuit or balance, Pilates, something like that. So that is what I've been doing throughout quarantine. It's been working really well for me and I do see it as a very therapeutic time, and it just feels like a time where I can kind of get away from everything, be alone, and work on myself. Okay, question number 3. This one is juicy. It says, what is your opinion on plastic surgery and have you had anything done? So first of all, no, I haven't had anything done, but I'm definitely not opposed to it. So that obviously stems out of my opinion on plastic surgery, which is do whatever you want. Do what makes you feel confident. If you have the resources and if it's really something that you think is going to increase your quality of life and your perception of yourself, then do it. I think that it's wrong for us to sit here and criticize people that have had plastic surgery, because I promise you, every famous person that you looked up to and also probably members in your community, y'all, they have Botox. There's nothing wrong with that. But I will say, I think that there's so much beauty and grace in aging. And I'm probably not going to be one of those people who gets like filler or anything to hide my wrinkles and stuff. Plastic surgery for me, like the one thing that I would definitely be interested in getting is a nose job. And that's just because I've been insecure about my nose for a long time. But I have sort of entered a space where I'm accepting it. I love my nose from certain angles and from others I don't. So it would definitely be really cool to kind of have like the exact nose that I wanted my entire life. But it's not one of those things that if I don't get it done, I'm gonna sit here and like be upset about it for the rest of my life. I also think that if you're someone who's interested in plastic surgery or getting something done, that you're doing it for yourself and not for others. I think that's where there's a really thin line between it being good for your mental health or not. In my opinion, I think that celebrities definitely need to be more transparent about plastic surgery, because it does create, 1, a very unrealistic, and 2, a very Eurocentric norm of beauty. So it is definitely important for us to deconstruct that. If you're gonna get plastic surgery, it should be something that you do for yourself, not something that you do to look more like X person or fit better in this industry. It really is, I think, a very personal decision. So yeah, those are my thoughts. They may change over time, maybe not, but at this point, I don't have anything done, and if I could get anything done, it would be a nose job. How do you balance phone time during quarantine? So, I have struggled with this because my screen time at the beginning of quarantine was actually 9 hours a day. When quarantine first started, my university decided to just extend spring break for 2 weeks. Like, I wasn't doing anything. I didn't have any homework. I was basically just on break for 3.5 weeks. And during that time, I got into the really bad habit of just being on my phone constantly. This was also when I started to really love TikTok. So I was spending, you guys know, like, you're on TikTok, you can spend hours on there because The content is literally curated exactly for you and your interests. So it's such an addictive and difficult app to control yourself on. The best way to put this is each day that you live should ultimately bring you closer to your goal, right? So spending 10 hours on social media might be consistent with your goals, but it wasn't consistent with mine. I didn't necessarily get into a space where I was feeling like it was extremely toxic and I needed to just cut it out. I was actually just laughing at TikToks for hours and hours and hours on end. If it's not something that you can see actively helping you achieve your goals, then you need to reevaluate the space that it's taking up in your life. I was being extremely lenient with myself, and I'm not gonna lie, some days I still wake up and get on social media and will spend an hour or an hour and a half or more. So I'm still trying to limit myself. The one thing that I have no tolerance for is if I get into a space where I'm on social media and I feel like I'm comparing myself to others, or seeing posts from this person makes me feel bad about myself, I'm gonna unfollow them and I'm not gonna spend time on that, looking through their stuff anymore. And that's not something I really struggle with anymore, but younger me struggled with that. Social media was such a horrible place for me. I remember no hate towards Alexis Wren. I love her. I think she's such an inspiring and incredible woman. But when I was in high school, I would literally look at pictures of Alexis Wren and cry. I would just cry. And I would think about it for weeks and weeks. And if you guys don't know, I have a podcast coming out. It's called The Goddess Pod. It's all about self-growth, self-development, and harnessing your inner goddess energy. And this is a space for everyone. If you need a best friend who's going to motivate you to achieve your goals, you need to be listening to The Goddess Pod. So I will totally keep you updated with details about the release, but check us out on The Goddess Pod. I'm planning on doing an episode about body image and eating disorders, because that is one of my biggest adolescent struggles that I endured. And I just remember I would look at pictures of Alexis Wren and cry because I wanted her stomach so badly and her life so badly. And then, she came out a few years later and she was like, I had an eating disorder the whole time and I was grieving the loss of my mom. And whenever that statement came out, I was definitely in a much happier point in my life. And I remember retrospectively just thinking, I can't believe fragile me was sitting here and being broken and grieving and so mean to myself over someone who was doing the exact same thing. So it's important to recognize the toxicity and the harmful nature of social media. But if you truly do distance yourself from that, if you're aware and conscious of the emotions that you feel while you're on people's feeds and stuff, then that's a great first step. And obviously, like I said, definitely gonna do a whole episode about body image and probably even social media on The Goddess Pod, so stay tuned for that. Probably my favorite question out of all of these, I think a lot of second gen kids and also people who just feel like they've been marginalized or ostracized will relate to. Do you ever feel like you're not Indian enough, or that you're not connected to your culture enough? I think I went through different phases throughout my life. From a very young age, I've been extremely immersed in American culture. My dad literally came here because he liked rock and roll and Archie comics and Michael Jackson. So that was definitely very present in my upbringing. But another thing that was very present in my upbringing was trips to India. I've spent a considerable amount of my free time, which is summers and things like that, in India. And that has helped me feel connected to my identity. But I don't necessarily do I think a lot of the things that other Indian kids in my community did, which were Bharatanatyam, Carnatic singing, Bollywood fusion teams. That's a whole personality trait in college, is being on a Bollywood fusion team. That was not for me, and it never will be. And I think it's important to recognize that doesn't mean I'm not Indian. It just means that my Indian culture resonates with me in a different form than it does for someone who's on a Bollywood team or on a Bharatanatyam team or sings Carnatic music. So I definitely had stages in my life where I felt left out from either side and I felt like I didn't belong to either community. But now I'm really happy with where I am. I have a very supportive family, which helps a lot. But ultimately, no, I don't feel like I'm not Indian enough or like I'm not connected to my culture. I think I have a really good balance, and I also think that there's no right or wrong way to express your identity. That looks different for every person. I'm going to have to drop a whole podcast episode about this. I could talk for hours. Okay, last question. Fingers crossed that my phone doesn't die. Also, I really need to get like a real camera. For now, y'all are just gonna have this iPhone quality. Hope that's okay. Okay, so last question. What are your thoughts on online classes, and do you have a good routine? It is hard to stay focused. That is my number one observation throughout this time. It's really difficult to stay focused when you can't really compartmentalize between your space to relax and your space to work. Like, my bed is literally 2 feet away from my desk, and I end up doing most of my work in my bed anyways. Now, when I was living in my apartment in Athens, I made it such a strict rule to never, ever, ever do my work in my bed, because then the place where I'm supposed to sleep becomes this like stress-inducing environment, and I was just not about it. Now, like I said earlier about workouts, it is important to just take a step back and not be so hard on yourself during quarantine, but I am trying my best. I make sure that I have goals and targets set up. If you're someone who likes visual targets and being able to track your progress, go get the A+ app from the App Store. Obviously, this is not a plug, like it's my second video. I'm not sponsored yet. No, I'm kidding. The most important part of my routine is I have 4 or 5 places around my house where I go to study, or even if it's not in my house. I think that psychologically working in the same place every day can be extremely draining, and it just feels more daunting. For example, I only do my finance homework outside. If I'm just writing a really chill essay, I do it in my bed. My dad has an office, so if I'm taking a quiz or a test, I like to do it in there. And I do understand that that's a huge luxury. Like, not everybody has like 5 rooms in their house that they can just go work at. Some good ideas for places to work could be outside with a little towel. That's obviously a vibe. I know that with COVID restrictions and everything, it's so difficult, but you could go to somewhere that's really open. Barnes & Noble is a fantastic option. I need to pick a day this week and go to Barnes & Noble. So far, it's just been a really good strategy for me to move around and have different places so that the day doesn't feel so long and boring, if that makes sense. Okay guys, so that was my Q&A. Stay tuned for more videos from me. I have a few things in the works right now. I'm editing like literally 3 videos at the same time, and I promise you I'm gonna get more consistent. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and that this video gave you some insight on me or some tips and tricks on how you can start making little changes in your life to be happier this week or today. And I love you all. Make sure you comment, like, subscribe, do all of that jazz. I almost forgot to tell you, my podcast is coming out so soon, The Goddess Pod. If you guys don't follow us on Instagram, go ahead and do that. I know I'm new to social media and like just kind of have started to dip my toes in the water of this world, but when I tell you the little PR kits that I'm making for The Goddess Pod and the content on The Goddess Pod is insane. I'm putting everything that I have into it and making sure that it is truly an amazing experience for everybody involved. I'm definitely going to be giving a couple away to you, so make sure that you're staying engaged on all of my channels so that you can win an awesome PR kit from The Goddess Pod. Thank you so much for watching, and I will have another upload for you guys very soon.